Cluster C, again, I crossed that out because knowing the letter of the cluster doesn't really matter. What they're going to do is give you, again, a stem. Person does this. Which one of these 20 options is their most likely diagnosis? So what's the difference between avoidant personality disorder, someone who's socially inhibited, timid, blah, blah, blah. What's the difference between avoidant personality disorder and social anxiety disorder? Well, the big difference is that when we remember social anxiety disorder, the fear is of embarrassment. In avoidant personality disorder, it's of rejection. Small difference. But one will give you a right answer, one won't. Another difference between avoidant personality and another disorder, schizoid, is that someone with avoidant personality disorder wants relationship with others, but is sensitive to rejection, is afraid of being rejected, is afraid of being criticized. It's not afraid of being embarrassed, just hates the idea of rejection. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder, ego-syntonic, compared to obsessive compulsive disorder, ego-dystonic. Okay. Dependent. We talked about borderline personality disorder and the other one, and how they're also in relationships that aren't really great. The difference here is that whereas someone with borderline personality disorder is always in and out of rough relationships, here they're more likely to be in abusive relationships and be submitted to this abuse. Someone in a borderline personality disorder, they get in and out of relationships, but that's not the big thing. The big thing with borderline personality disorder is that there's always some sort of huge fight going on. A person's either up or down, and it just always causes chaos. In dependent personality disorder, they always need someone. I might have to go back and change how I described borderline personality disorder, because the big thing with dependent personality disorder is they always have to be with someone. And because of that, they always end up in abusive relationships. In borderline personality disorder, their relationships, which they always mention in the stem, are characterized by violent outbursts of X, Y, and Z. Right. Malingering, intentional. Everything's intentional. Hey, you want opioids? I had surgery, doc, but there's no records of it, and everyone's already dismissed me, and blah, blah, blah. Why won't you help me? Intentional, they want opioids, purposefully faking everything to get something out of it. Factitious disorder is different. Factitious is the factitious disorder, you don't know why you do it. You're purposefully doing something, but the reason why, doc, I don't know, I just need to do it. So when you do it on yourself, it used to be called Munchausen syndrome. Okay, great. The big thing here is that you want to be in the sick role. Why? No one knows why. It's unconscious. The reason, the motivation, it's unconscious. So this is a patient who will constantly end up getting operations. So you'll see in the stem, cholecystectomy, appendectomy, XLAP, blah, 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 blah. And they're always fine after it. Don't know what's going on. But they love this sick role. Factitious disorder imposed on another, you always see it on children, and that's a form of child abuse, which means you have to report it. CPS or police, guys. Always Child Protective Services. Somatic symptom disorders. This is great. Symptoms, no one knows the motivation. Symptoms, you're not really the one, putting them forward, compared to factitious disorder, compared to malingering, where you're making the symptoms. Again, malingering and factitious disorder, you're just creating the symptoms. You're saying, ow, my foot. Okay. Now again, malingering, you know why you're doing it. Factitious disorder, you don't really know why you're doing it. Somatic symptom disorder, you're not creating the symptoms, and there's no real motivation behind it that you can really think it. So somatic symptom disorder is, again, it's kind of one of those diagnoses of exclusion. I have abdominal pain. I have lower limb pain, I have blah, blah, blah. And in the stem, they're always going to say the patient has seen multiple providers, multiple doctors, a bunch of specialists for all these different symptoms throughout the year. And what's also going to differentiate it from someone who has malingering is that they're not going to like push you for like opioids. They're not going to push you for drugs or surgery or something. Their biggest thing, and you always see this, it's just that I just want this stuff to end. That's what they'll say. They'll say, Doc, I don't understand what's going on. I keep on having this intractable stomach pain. I keep on having this toe pain, and these headaches, and I just want it all to end. And no one's been able to help me, and I don't know what's going on. And the best way to do it is regular office visits with the same physician, with, of course, therapy. Conversion disorder is probably my favorite one. You have this huge shock. Your wife dies. You go blind. That's the most famous one. You have an acute stressor and you have some neurologic disorder. You go blind. Can't hear anymore. Trouble speaking. Something along those lines. I've never really seen la belle indifférence in terms of being in a stem, but it's a good way of thinking about it. Patient just comes up to you and is just like, I don't know, lost my sight. My kid died, and there you go. And illness anxiety disorder, you can just think of someone who always thinks that they've got something. They're always testing themselves because, oh my God, I gotta make sure I'm not sick. I think I'm sick. And there's never anything going on. Big thing here, malingering versus factitious disorder. But want you to understand the difference. Malingering, you're purposefully recreating things for a purposeful gain. Factitious disorder, the gain, it's not so concrete. But of course you're recreating these symptoms. And somatic symptom disorders, you're not creating anything and no one knows why this is happening. But for conversion disorder, it's typically after an acute stressor. Whenever someone dies and someone has something like blindness, someone has something like they can't hear anymore, something as someone like all of a sudden their balance is way off. But typically it'll be blindness. You gotta think conversion disorder. Avoidant personality disorder, the big thing is fear of rejection compared to social anxiety disorder, where it's fear of embarrassment. Dependent personality disorder, very low self-confidence, always in abusive relationships. Compared to borderline personality disorder, where they're in relationships, but those are characterized by just incredible fights. One day mood's up, next day mood's down, and it just constantly causes conflict. And it also has incidents with, self-harm, cutting, suicidality.